Hey guys, what is up? This is Laculio here coming at you guys with a deck profile of a deck that I used on the very first episode of my Pokemon TCG 1 videos. Before I tell you about this deck, I want to apologize if the lighting is a little bad on my face camera, but this is the only position I can put my computer in at this moment, and the lights are just really bright, and if I turn this one off, then it's too dark. So, yeah, I thought, better have somewhat bad lighting than no lighting at all. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get to the deck. Most of you are, or at least some of you, should be familiar with this deck right now. This is the deck that, well, a deck similar to what has won in the regionals a few months ago. And it's a really fast deck. Let me make sure my face is good. It is good. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. So this is Empoleon Flareon. So basically the point of this deck is that you just discard a bunch of Pokemon and then Flareon does a lot of damage. So you do run a lot of Pokemon, so not drawing a basic Pokemon on your first draw when you and your opponent go is very unlikely. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I did make a few twists and turns on my part, and I'll show you those twists and turns in just a second. So anyway, we have to run 4 Eevee, and you want to run the Signs of Evolution with 60 HP, not the energy evolution, because we only run water energy in this deck, and you don't run Glaceon or Vaporeon, so yeah, don't run the... And plus, you need the 60 HP, because if you're up against Seismitoad, and Seismitoad is a muscle band, that's a one-hit knockout, unless you run this Eevee, which has 60 HP. So, definitely run this instead of the other Eevee. Okay, so anyway, we run 4 Flareon because Flareon is the main attacker, and the reason why we run 4 is because, well, first of all, like I said, he's the main attacker, and second of all, if you decide to use our other evolution, which is Leafeon, then you can discard the other Flareon, which is very effective. So, Leafeon is mainly used to counteract Seismitoad. This is your Seismitoad counter. And it's actually a really good Seismitoad counter. It does a lot of damage. Energy Crush does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon, which is very effective. So you run 3 of these, mainly to make sure that you draw into it when you're up against Seismitoad, and plus it gives you more Pokemon to discard, which is really awesome. So at first I didn't get the point of Ditto until I played with this deck. So Ditto, if you start with him, at least you don't have to draw again for your turn, and if you draw into, say, like an Eevee or something, and you activate its ability to transform, then you have an Eevee already, and plus, it just, like, if Eevee gets knocked out, that's another Pokemon in your discard pile. So, really, it's actually a really effective card. Also, we run 3 Audino for a few reasons. 1, because Hypnotoxic Laser is the thing, and 2, you discard Audino in order to activate this effect. So, more Pokemon to go in your discard pile, and more fun. Next up, we have a 1/1 line of Swirlix and Slurpuff. The tasting ability actually comes in handy because, say that you're up against Seismitoad and you don't have any draw power or any way to go fast because you can't activate Acrobike, you can't activate Battle Compressor, you can't activate Ultra Ball. This Slurpuff is the way to go. So Slurpuff is really good in this deck. You don't always use it, but when you don't use it, like I said, it goes in the discard pile, which is really awesome. We run 2 Jirachi, just to make sure that you can get the Archie's Ace in the hole. And like I said, if it's too much space in your deck, throw it in the discard pile. So, yeah, another thing I forgot to mention, Archie's Ace in the hole is very important, and you can pull it off in this deck. Alright, speaking of Archie's Ace in the hole, our target for that is going to be Empoleon. So, this is the reason why you run Water Energy, because 1 energy you're doing attack command, doing 10 damage times the number of Pokemon in play. So, Empoleon can do up to 120 damage, and with the new Skyfield card, he can do up to 180, which is going to be ridiculous. So, you do run 2 of these to make sure that you can discard Empoleon, and also to make sure that, they're not prized. So, this and the Swampert are going to be your first targets for Battle Compressor. Now, the reason why I chose to run Swampert is because I have had many games where I pull off 2 Archie's Ace in the hole in 1 game. And Swampert's really good with Empoleon because Diving Search allows you to search your deck for any card placed on top of your deck, whereas Diving Draw allows you to discard any card in your hand to draw 2 cards. So Empoleon and Swampert have that really good synergy. And of course, going along with that synergy, we run 2 Executes. Now, 2 Executes, the reason why you run this is because this is how you balance the Archie's Ace in the Hole, which I'll get to in just a second. Plus, Execute's always been ran with Empoleon. It's mainly known for the Propagation Diving Draw ability combo, which basically means draw 2 cards without discarding anything except Execute. And our last Pokemon is going to be Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is really good in this deck because if you're up against like a Landorus deck, it's going to really suck because you have a bunch of Pokemon with really low HP, except Empoleon and Swampert. So you need Mr. Mime to help you protect your bench from Landorus, and if you don't need Mr. Mime, just throw him in the discard pile. I mean, all these Pokemon are there to help one another for any instance, and then you just throw them in the discard pile if you don't need them, which is really awesome. I mean, whoever thought about this deck was really, really smart. I mean, it's a really good deck. The Swampert was my little thing that I decided to put in because I have pulled off 2 Archie's Ace and Hole in the game many times. So we'll go ahead and go to the energy count since it's the next thing on the list for some reason. But 4 double colorless and 3 water is all you need. Yeah, Enhanced Hammer is going to suck, but we do run cards to get your energies back, so it's all good. Our ace spec's going to be Computer Search, and the reason why we run Computer Search and not Dowsing Machine is because you're going to want to search in your deck a heck of a lot more than you want to search your discard pile. So Computer Search is really perfect for this deck, hands down. Our supporter lineup, I'm going to go out of order. I usually go to draw support first, but we run 1 Lysander because you really don't need... Lysander's not an extreme necessity, and plus, we do run 4 VS Seeker. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys that. We do run 4 VS Seeker because you do go through your deck really fast, which means you can be discarding a lot of supporters, and this just helps you get back a lot of supporters, and this also helps you do Archie's Ace and Hole. Now, the guy ran 1 Archie's and Ace and Hole, I believe. I just chose to run 2 because I've had many, many games, and I kid you not, when I first tested this deck out, 3 games in a row, my Archie's Ace in the Hole got prized, and the Empoleon Flareon strategy was just not working. So, ever since I ran 2, it's just been going by smoothly, and yeah, it's just really good. So, we also run 1 Lysander's Trump card. Now, I know that this deck relies on the discard pile, but the thing is, you go through it so fast that you could instantly lose if you go too crazy. So this basically tells or helps you not lose the game by discarding too many cards, and also there are other decks like Night March that benefit from this too, that you can just screw them over with this instead of you. I've actually had a game, I think it's on my video, where I was up against the Night March deck, and I had like a really slow start because I had a really bad hand, and the Night March person had a really fast start, but luckily I had this card too. Sorry if the camera got shaky, I bumped my computer, but anyway, this Lysander's Trump card helped me reduce the damage to 0, and it gave me enough time to build up my momentum to discard a bunch of stuff and win the game in the end. So Lysander's Trump card is actually useful in this deck because it saves you from losing, and it also saves you from Night March. Professor Juniper, we run 4 of these. We don't run N in this deck. I know I replaced the N in the list with a second Archie's Ace and Hole, and here's why. Professor Juniper is just really good with discarding. N, I never really use them. Like, even when I put them in the deck, I never really use them. So, you could take out an Archie, put in an N if you want, but my personal preference is to not run N. We want to go fast, not our opponent. So, if you were up against a Night March deck, the N would help them out as well. So, Professor Juniper, and then that's why we run 4 VS Seeker to get those supporters back. We mainly use it for Archie's Ace in the Hole or Lysander's Trump card, but it still comes in handy. It's a really good card. So that's all the supporters, and we run we do run a lot of items, but very few different items. First one's going to be Acrobike. So Acrobike is a really good card. You look at the top 2 cards of your deck, and you discard 1 and put the other in your hand, which is really effective for this deck, considering that you're wanting to discard Pokemon. The only thing that sucks about this card is that if you draw like the top 2 cards of your deck or something that you need, it's pretty funny. 4 Battle Compressor. This is also going to help you get rid of Pokemon. If you can get this off before Seismitoad does Quake and Punch a few times, then you'll be in good shape. So we run 4 because you really got to get those Pokemon in the discard pile as soon as possible. You're not going to use all 4, but you just want to make sure that you can get it. And our last item is Silver Bangle. This just helps Flareon do more damage to EX Pokemon. You don't really need Muscle Band in this deck because you have enough Pokemon to knock out any non-EX Pokemon, guaranteed, or your money back. So anyway, back to the Archie's Ace and Hole strategy. So this deck has, in case you haven't seen it, oh wait, I missed an item. 4 Ultra Balls. You need 4 Ultra Balls. I mean, the more cards you can discard, the better. So anyway, back to what I was saying. The Archie's Ace in a Hole strategy, basically you discard a bunch of cards and you use Execute to manipulate that. And then, like, I've had many two-turn Archie's Ace in a Hole with this deck. I'm not kidding. So, Computer Search, Ultra Ball, plus using all these Pokemon that you can use, it helps you thin out your hand a lot. And if you have like 3 cards left in your hand and you have an Ultra Ball, you can discard those 2 Ultra Ball with the Ultra Ball for a Jirachi. Play the Jirachi, get Archie's Ace in Hole. Play Archie's Ace in Hole, get the Empoleon in play. Or the Swampert, whichever you want. It's really, really good deck. Like I said, whoever thought about this was a really big genius because this deck really worked. And I did use this in the first episode, so if you haven't checked that out yet, please check it out. Yeah, I had a lot of fun using it. The Seismitoad matchups, though, really suck. But anyway, that's the Flareon and Empoleon deck. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe to this channel. I do 2 videos a day, 1 LP and 1 Pokemon TCG 1 video. And also, I'm doing extra videos recently due to, well, anniversaries, birthdays, and plus I'm hoping to do openings soon on this channel as well, just for the summer, because I usually do openings on Goojira for the Win's channel, which, by the way, you should check out. I'll definitely leave a link in my description below. Check out Goojira for the Win. That's GOODRAFTW. And I do openings on his channel, and he's actually a really good YouTuber. He's got more subscribers than me. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have an awesome day, but most importantly, stay cool.